Hey, get cooped. Hey, Hyrule. Hey, Ferris wheel. Hey, Mad Pretty. Let's begin. I'm very fond of saying the second run is the reason to speedrun RPGs. Don't really actually need to be good at the game yet. Just need to be less bad enough than the last time, so that you'll get all golds. Hey, Donovan Shepard. The good mashing rhythm for the text in this. It's like FF4. I don't think it really pays to just try to mash the crap out of the controller. There's a specific rhythm to try to get into. I got a miss. And a crit. Alright. And the shrug, the most OP animation on the Super Nintendo. Abda Jr. If you mean for like an emote, I know Abda Jr. already has that. Chancellor face. I miss Abda streams, but I know he's a dad now and focusing on IRL as well he should. Oh, nice. Third. Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to, if anyone has kids that they want to introduce to classic JRPGs, this game I think would be an awesome first experience, given that that's exactly what this game was made for. It was made to be Babby's first RPG. Hey, RPG chick. Nice job on the Legend of Mana the other day. Hey, Goolicious. Looking forward to playing the Legend of Mana remake coming out sometime this coming week. It's been a very, very long time since I played that. I hope we see an actual new Mana game at some point in the not too distant future, though. I mean, all these remakes they've been doing of the Mana series are nice, but at some point I would like to see like a new Mana game. Hey, so before I derped around a little with the config menu in the first run. I do know that a good Minotaur time, if nothing like really goes wrong in the lead up to it, like you don't die to the behemoth, don't miss a lot in the two fights, like 340 I think is a good time. Yeah, yet another FF4 remake with the pixel remaster, whatever. Yeah, one thing about this game that's gonna take, I feel like, is gonna take me a very long time to get used to is that you cannot buffer D-pad inputs when you're going through screen transitions. That is quite different from basically every other SNES RPG I've played and or speedrun. One thing I would really love to see would be some kind of like console and PC port of all of the DS and 3DS Dragon Quest games. Then maybe I'll can go from there, I guess, as far as whether they are just straight ports of those or if they're redone and like have major graphical changes. Hey, Mothmatical, welcome in. I'm curious to see more about the Pixel remasters, but it's gonna take a lot to really to get me to want to play them at least more than once, I'd say. Because for starters, I don't really like playing games on PC. I much prefer consoles. But I hope they're good, and it's that there's good legal ways to play classic Final Fantasy on modern platforms. Well, the main question I had about that goofy trailer was, where's Dan? Did he get lost in his way to Chaos? Something. I also couldn't stop shaking my head at Square doing a game called Final Fantasy Origin when they already have Final Fantasy Origins, which is the PS1 port of Final Fantasy 1 and 2. I've been enjoying all of the Kill Chaos memes, though. Think you can get less than 3? Yeah, okay, yeah. Good call. I was a little of both. Get cooped. Pretty busy with work and a few other personal things, and was just very, very unmotivated. There was just nothing I felt like streaming or speedrunning for quite a while. Like I said last time, if anybody that doesn't like this boss theme has no soul, in my opinion. Yeah, likewise, Nucleon. Yes, Grunt. If you mean on the overworld, yes. You only choose destinations. Inside dungeons and towns and stuff, it's tile-based. Better heal. I should have just gone for the kill. Alright. Not quite a sub 10, but we'll get there. Yeah, pretty much the only track in this game that I'm not really too fond of is the forest theme. The forest I went through on my way here, then the giant tree coming up in the wind part of the game. Every other bit of this game's soundtrack is absolute banger material. And the shrug. The track in this game that I think is the most underrated too is the one for the falls basin and the mine shaft. It's so chill and relaxing. Ever hear anybody talk about that particular track? Hey, PKP man, welcome in. Shield is mostly just for getting extra ability on Benjamin. As tempting as it is to jump constantly too, that does cost frames. As of now, no. If somebody invites me to commentate their GDQ run, I'll certainly be honored to do so, but as of now, no one has done so. Hey, Daedalonus. Yeah, Treasure of Rudra is a game I definitely want to play at some point. Yeah, I guess that is a good point, David. I guess policies for commentators for online GDQs is a bit stricter than in person. Like in person, it's just whoever shows up and clearly is there at the has the approval of the runner to be on couch. It's fine, but for online, they have to do tech checks in advance, so it's a bit stricter. I don't think there's been any official announcements about when GDQ is going back to being in person, but I would hope it'll be next January. As of now, for RPG Limit Break, we are very much intending to go back to being in person next year. I was hoping it would work out to do so this year, but sadly it didn't. This is where it starts to get a lot more interesting with the partner AI, as far as just knowing when to use the AI for Phoebe and when to control her manually. Because if you know the AI is going to do what you want, then it saves saves time on menu inputs to let it do its thing. Hey, Matty Daddy Man. Hey, just Eric. I should have just had Phoebe defend, actually, when there's only 2 of these things. Well, hopefully the runners for Magic of Scheherazade and Willow are interested in doing those runs next year. Because all the runners that got accepted into Limit Break 2020 before it was canceled will be guaranteed acceptance into Limit Break 2022 if they resubmit. Oh, nice, Matty Daddy Man, yeah. Yeah, it was a nice run. It's a shame that there were tech problems with the Super Nintendo they had me playing on, but them's the shakes sometimes. Yeah, and then given that I wasn't totally prepared for being in just an absolutely insanely hyped room, yeah, there was the whole forgetting Alexander's Magicite, so it wasn't technically 100%, but it's the thought that counts. I was better prepared when I got to run Chrono Trigger the year after that. yeah, that was whole getting to having to make sure my equipment was good and my battle speed was set correctly to install for the Specchio bonus fight to get met. Well, for me, it's just both having done it a number of times and also having a background as a musician too. Like I've been in concert bands and choirs for a very, very long time, and having it be performing video game speedruns instead of music in front of other people isn't like a huge stretch for me. But I mean, the very first time that I did a GDQ run, which was actually at the very first SGDQ in 2011. I mean, I was very, very, very nervous going into it, and every time I do a run for a charity marathon, I mean, there's always a little bit of nerves, but it doesn't take me, at least very long to just kind of get into the groove and just start having fun. Yeah, I mean, for RPGs like FF6, just want to auto here. Doing like a true low percent run would be, I'd have a hard time seeing that really work as a speed run because of for kind of both depending on how you define low percent and if it means like literally not gaining any levels or picking up any items that aren't explicitly required to complete the game. I could see it being just really, really hard to actually make progress once you're past certain points. Yeah, Miss Kane is a good point too. That FF6 does have kind of a pseudo low percent category with beating the game with only 3 characters in the World of Ruin, which means a ton of grinding because of having to do all 3 parts of Kefka's Tower with solo characters. Well, I mean, all runs of games like that were without step route before step routes became a thing. I'm generally a fan for, well, I mean, it's not really viable as far as like trying to get the record at a game like that, but it's certainly viable as far as being able to finish runs and have them be relatively fast. Because I would venture to guess that the step routes in FF6 save under 5 minutes or so on average. Yeah, same MJF Blues. Again, this is not a good fight. Yeah, I'm actually losing time here thanks to this bus. I mean, I'm a big fan of really not going all in on manipulation type stuff when first learning to run a game like that, if I can avoid it, both to make the learning process easier, and then also just make it so that I have kind of a foundation of backup strats too, if and when I do learn the manipulation, if it falls apart. Yeah, I guess I kind of overlooked that. Yeah, by the way, the reason why the boss died from its own attack was because of the resistance glitch. This game only assigns I believe it's just modifiers from equipment to your partner, which includes stat adjustments and elemental and status resistances whenever you load a save file. Since the last save file I loaded before starting this run was with Phoebe 2, all of my partners throughout the run have a bunch of resistances that are different than what they're supposed to have. In that case, it was drain resistance, which reverses the drain effect. Yeah, agreed, David. Like, especially for a more complex game like an RPG, I think it's just knowing a decent amount about the game and its mechanics and what kind of situations you can get into is really, really, really important as far as being a good speedrunner of it. Before I do another seed, and also just having like that foundation I was talking about in a game before you go all in on manipulation and and stuff is also, I think, really helpful if you ever want to be able to run it for marathons or do races or just otherwise no reset runs. Some of my favorite just runs that I've done of various games of all time are runs where my normal route just fell apart and I had to improvise just based on what I knew about the game, and it was mad fun to do so. Oh, ActRaiser 2. Oh, that is a very, very underrated game in my opinion. I don't like it quite as much as the first ActRaiser, but I do like it, and a bit underrated. Hey, Ritz Blues. Yeah, it's a hard game, but I think it's hard in fair ways. Like, it's a game that just feels really, really good to beat stages in and make progress. Minor sequence break, by the way, too. I don't think you're really intended to reuse the first pillar in order to go straight to the boss without fighting a couple more battles here. Hey, Reiko. There's two Chrono Trigger randomizers I'm familiar with. There's a linear one that just you play through the story and it randomizes stuff. Not really. I think that's called like Lavos Awakening or Lavos Nightmare or something like that. And then there's Jets of Time, which is an open world randomizer. I'm a lot more familiar with the linear one just because El Magus plays it a lot. Not quite as familiar with the open world one. The single thing about Eternal Nightmare that I really, really like, though, is that it actually uses the Singing Mountain unreleased track in the game where it should have been used in the vanilla game, which is Death Peak. I thought that track would have been absolutely perfect for Death Peak. Hey, Yelsray, thank you, sir. Belated grats on the FF4 relay run a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I have no idea why they didn't actually use that track in the game. Like, I want to say it was written for a area of the Dark Ages that wasn't used for some reason. They just cut it all out and then didn't reuse the track for some reason. Should have just ran from this and duped another seed, actually. That's kind of a more rare formation there. It isn't obvious, by the way, that even though you can see where the encounters in this game are, the actual monster groups are randomized. There's up to 3 possible monster sets for each encounter, as I understand it. That's probably the biggest thing that I find really interesting about this game as a speed run too, is that it's very heavily about handling encounters as opposed to either running away from all of them or manipulating, avoiding them like you'd do in most other Final Fantasy speedruns. Yes, the named Lamia Queen % category. Not just in FF2 these days. Yeah, gee, I wonder who that could have been. My money's on Wells JC. I haven't decided. I usually do stream Forge Up Fiesta, but right now I do kind of want to focus on this game. So I might do... might mix it up between this and FF5. It was... You're being alleged to have been the stream tech that came up with the Lamia Queen category for Final Fantasy II, or hired a doppelganger to do your dirty work for you. Oh, nah. Bet she has the heal spell. Ah, and I was supposed to bomb, too. Oops. Hey, Counterfeit Saint, welcome. I'm looking forward to getting caught up on Foresight's FF3 run from Western for Glory. Overnight for me, so unfortunately I wasn't able to catch it live. Yeah, Forsyth is one of the most chill speedrunners I know. This is how that last triple Desert Hag encounter should have done. As far as what Desert Hags are doing in an ice pyramid, I'll tell you. Yeah, it's pretty accurate, Narabert. This game was primarily made to introduce Westerners to JRPGs. I mean, when I first played it, I had already played, quote-unquote, more advanced RPGs, like the Dragon Warriors on the NES and Final Fantasy IV, but that did not really inhibit my enjoyment of this game for what it is, too. Fun, simple little RPG with phenomenal music and sprite work. As far as White Life is insta-killing monsters that aren't undead, that's another glitch in the US version of the game. This is one of the rare RPGs of this era where the US version is faster than the Japanese version. Most of the glitches that are in your favor got fixed on the Japanese and PAL versions. On. Hey, Zach. Read on both counts. Alright, you gonna hit this time? Alright. Sorry, that crit doesn't make up for those 2 misses. You can one-shot these birds. He actually hits them. Get less than 3. I think this is the favorable formation here. BB can one-shot the bird, and then Benjamin can one-shot the eyeballs. Yeah, Shuriken Blue. Oh, that's right, I was supposed to seed before getting the armor. I was wondering why my magic was so low. Crit. The mode heal queued up. Enemies are invisible in this area and in the volcano exterior. There's a key item you can get in each that lets you see them. Like in this area, it's the magic mirror, and then in the volcano, it's the gas mask. But in an 80% speedrun, there isn't any reason to get those. So you'll know where the encounters are and what the formations are. Hey, Zypher. Okay. I lost time there despite knowing where I was going a bit better in the pyramid. That wasn't a great boss fight, though. I mishandled some of the encounters kind of badly. Yeah, one thing I do like to say about this game is that the music is... Oops. That's not good. The music is very highly rated, but sprite work is top-notch too. People don't talk about it as much as the music. That is a problem, because I didn't open the chest yet. I'll rip a bunch of time. There's no tournament for this as far as I know. I just wanted to start running this game as just kind of a more chill speed game that I don't have to put a ton of practice into. So I know what I'm doing with it. It kind of depends. Like, a lot of times with speed games I pick up, it's a game that a lot of other people have done runs of, but I want to do something a little different with it as far as category rules. Like in this particular case, not using the shop glitch is something that was a thing, and like before the shop glitch was discovered in 2014 or so. So I was able to kind of use a guide for the modern 80% run and then kind of splice it together with some videos I watched of 80% runs from 2014 and earlier. That was a note to self not to fall asleep on the text mashing after Ice Golem, because if I do that I'll jump into the pit and not get the river coin. Yeah, I think for perspective, a pretty sick Ice Golem time is like a 36. $10.22 isn't awful for Flamer's Rex, so clearly I've got still a fair ways to go in this segment of the game. I've got enough bombs for exit battlefield. Yeah, my main memory of Tecmo Secret of the Stars, I mean, I never actually played it as a kid, but I do remember it being like one of the only Super Nintendo games that Nintendo Power actually said bad things about it in their. I don't know if like they even did like a full review or like a full feature on it, but I know they mentioned in at least 1 or 2 reviews that it was not a good game. This is the only battlefield we fight as part of the run with the exit spell. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much only think about Tecmo as making sports games, not RPGs, and there's probably a reason for that. Oops. But Taito's first RPG was Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, right? That's a game I've got a big soft spot for, even though I recognize that it hasn't aged very well at all. I mean, I even have as much as I like it, I have a pretty hard time actually recommending it to other people too, unless I know that they're fans of old school Dragon Quest. Okay. Squid, please. Someone did say Lufia. Or specifically how I've got a big soft spot for Lufia 1, even though I have a hard time recommending it to most people nowadays. Yeah, that is a very good point, Sagittary, too. Yeah, that the Wild Arms series is kind of spiritual successor to Lufia 2 as far as turn-based RPG that's heavily got a heavy puzzle-solving element. All of Lufia 2's soundtrack is great, but as far as the individual tracks that I like the most, I don't think any of the dungeon themes are super high on that list. All of the time lost because of grouping around in the pyramid exit and not having particularly great luck with the exit battlefield. Which one is To the Future? Is that the ending or something? Oh yeah, yeah. That is certainly an emotional one. I want to get the bombs here because I have to actually use up my bombs before next dungeon. Yes, Rocket Launcher. My internet name did come from Super Castlevania 4. I've gone by Poexel online since the late 90s or so, and there isn't really anything more to it than that. I've always been a big Castlevania fan, and when I was looking for an online name to standardize around, and I wanted to do something Castlevania themed, and I also wanted something that wouldn't like always be taken everywhere. Yep, Poexel is licks you up backwards because it's a giant skull that attacks with its tongue. By the way, if anyone's more familiar with the modern any percent Mystic Quest run, oops, this is where the run starts to deviate pretty significantly because I'm not using the shop glitch in order to skip the next 3 dungeons. Yeah, so people ask me sometimes if I mind that Joe D'Amelio has a picture of me for his Poexel split and for Super Castlevania 4, and I say I am absolutely flattered that he does that. Yeah, my avatar is Palmer from Final Fantasy VII. Alright, so we're coming up on the biggest sequence break that I do in this particular category. Even though I will be playing all of the dungeons, I am going to skip the boss of this one. You have 0 bombs, and then you try to use a Mega Grenade. The game will actually repeat the last animation that happened, and in this case it was using an elevator. So I did that. I used the glitch to skip a big chunk of the dungeon there, and then shortly I'll be using it to skip Jin, the boss. Just want to make sure it's... If I do this in the wrong spot, I might soft lock. I mean, it's a soft lock I can get out of, because I could just cast exit, but that would cost a fair bit of time if I did it. The seed underflow is part of the shop glitch. You buy 0 seeds and then use them while your inventory is in a certain way, then you get 255 seeds. Alright, who's ready for some awesome volcano music? I mean, I spend the vast majority of the money I get from fights on seeds, so running, I should have enough seeds for the whole rest of the game at this point without having to. Well, I'm going to buy more after the volcano, but I'm going to buy seeds and use them, but I have to be a little careful with my usage. So I should have used exit there to get out for a little bit faster. Be a little mindful that I don't have just totally infinite seeds. Hey, Michigan man down. Yeah, I haven't been streaming the past couple months, but starting to get back into it finally. Year-term plans are this, and possibly some Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta as well. Hey, Stradivarian. Make sure Ruben kills the ghost, because those can duplicate themselves. This is the aforementioned area where you can't actually see the encounters unless you get a special item. I'll be skipping because I don't need it. Hey, Dinkbooks. I just walk around this. Yeah, okay. I thought there was only one encounter that I could just walk around, but I guess there's two. This is the other one. I just walked around an encounter there. This is what we don't want to see, because if that hadn't happened, then Benjamin would have killed all of them. Yeah, that's correct. All other glitches are fair game, but I'm not going to be either glitching key items in my inventory or getting unlimited seeds. That chest over there is the gas mask that would let me actually see the encounters. Yeah, the volcano music and the unique strategies for the boss are the biggest reasons why I wanted to run this game without the shop glitch. Ready for an awesome sprite, by the way, too, with Medusa's at low health. Get bald, Dusa. Oh yeah, I forgot to split for Jin. Lava Dome is one of the longest dungeons in the game, too, so we get to enjoy a lot of this rockin' theme, at least, while we move throughout. Shoutouts to Hot Wings, by the way, the English name for those bird enemies. Anybody suddenly craving some delicious hot wings, I Claim no responsibility for that. Yeah, this was actually the first Square RPG to remember where you are in the music between fights. If you die and retry a fight, though, it does restart the music after you get out of it. But hopefully that doesn't happen too often. What I'm calling the record for this category is 226 by FF Gamer 86. It's what the any percent record was before the shop glitch was discovered. Hey, Nicodemus. Hey, Anna. Thank you for choosing twitch.tv/poexol over sleeping. Yep, that's a very, very common thing in this game, that the instant you kill a boss, it then gets demoted to a normal, the sprite at least, gets demoted to a normal encounter in the dungeon immediately afterwards. Okay. Think for a second on where to go there. West first, and then east when I come back. Oop, no exit. I'm really grateful, though, that the game makes you confirm exit when you use it in the field. Given that it's the first spell in Benjamin's white magic list, it would be extremely easy to do what I like to call heinous tech. Named after the exit dungeon spell in Fantasy Star games. Thanks, Free Kilby. How long did it take me to learn this speedrun? Not very long at all compared to most other RPGs I've run, just because of how short and simplistic the run is, and there's also pretty good resources. Oh, exit out of Zoo's floor. Oops. Actually, I think I was supposed to equip the claw for this fight. Nah, it doesn't matter now. Alright. Yep. To be fair, I know there is a glitch in Phantasy Star 4 that makes it kind of easy to plink inputs when you're trying to do fast menus, but I mean that is something you know about and kind of design your muscle memory around to try to avoid doing it. But as we saw the other day, it can still happen. Yes, or being a brave man of the dragon. The poor guy running Breath of Fire 2, questing for glory, having his game softlocked twice. One of them being a really rare one, too. Yeah, in Chrono Cross, you can run away from literally anything, up to and including the final boss. I mean, there's a reason for it, though, just because, I mean, the way that the element board works in Chrono Cross, the fact that you can't reuse elements under most situations makes it so that you can make, if you go, either that or if you just don't have a good element loadout going into a boss fight, you might just not really be able to win. So the game just lets you run away to be able to edit your elements. Now we actually do want to exit out. I probably should have called attention to the first trip I made into here was to get the life spell on Benjamin, which is something you would not have if you're skipping this whole area with the shop glitch. It's technically optional, but with the strategy I'm going to be using for Dual Head Hydra, the next boss, the life spell is pretty much a requirement. I have to use an extremely defensive strat in order to be able to kill Dual Head Hydra quickly at these levels and without getting any fire-resistant equipment. I don't know. I don't really think Barberry is harder than Death Heaven. Breath of Fire 2. Because Death Heaven has more types of attacks and a lot more health. Yeah, if you do Barberry solo, it is very, very hard, though. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about the next to last major story boss in Breath of Fire 2. And after you've just gotten started with the fight, you get to choose whether to continue the fight or to take Barberry up on an offer to fight solo with Ryu, your hero. If you do the fight solo, he has less health, and if you win, he gives you a clue on some hidden treasure in the dungeon. But overall, it's a lot harder. It's doing it with your whole party. Hey, Ubisoft. Yeah. Wanted to get back into streaming and speedrunning with a kind of a more chill type run where I don't really have to do a lot of practice between runs. So equip the claw there. The claw gives Benjamin extra magic power, and for these couple fights here, it makes the difference in being able to one-shot them with the white spell. Well, back when Dragon Dark did the Breath of Fire, I remember him doing solo Barberry, but given that he did like all of the mini games and got all of the rare equipment and stuff, I don't really remember it looking that hard. It was just really tedious because you just had to keep using some infinite use healing or some sword that had infinite use healing associated with it in order to just keep healing Ryu until he got an opening to attack. Yeah, overall, I'd say this is a less evil run than any percent. I mean, it's longer, so there's more RNG as a whole, but the fact that that you get the life spell on Benjamin makes the last hour-ish of the game a lot more stable, and that your levels are a little bit higher too. Having the white spell on Benjamin is really nice for the for a little bit of the game after this too. Because after you do the shop glitch, Benjamin's basically useless up until you get the arrow spell, which I actually skip because I have white. Oh, is that the 1v1 clip? If so, I approve. I'm playing on an original SNES, yeah. I prefer to do all timed speedruns and just gameplay period on original hardware if I can. I do a fair bit of practice and routing stuff on emulators, but as far as actually doing runs, I basically always do it on console if I can. A SW or a pee on my face. Yeah, I am definitely glad that I got that most of my retro game collection I got before card prices got even more ridiculous. Like, I got my copy of Lufia 2 for, I don't know, like $25-30 or so, I want to say. If anybody watching has not played Lufia 2 yet, please do so if you can. The best 16-bit RPGs ever made. Just a shame that the US release of it was so filled with bugs, too. I do own a couple repro carts, yeah, like I've got repro carts of Terranigma and Seiken Densetsu 3. I think I might... Oh yeah, I also have Final Fantasy 3, the NES version. I like both of the Lufia games, but I very much recognize that Lufia 1 has not aged very well. Still need to pay more attention to Benjamin's spell usage in this area. Yeah, what order to play the Lufia games if you intend to play both of them is always a interesting question, because Lufia 2 is a prequel to Lufia 1. And the start of Lufia 1 somewhat spoils the ending to Lufia 2 as a result. But again, that's if you. I would only really have that be a question if you're going in intending to play both of them. If you're not sure, I would just play. I would start with Lufia 2. If I ever get back into doing casual game streams, doing a playthrough of Lufia 2 is on the list at some point because it's been a very long time and I've never actually done 100% in the game, like the jelly in the ancient cave and the egg dragon. Ancient cave, what's that? We might have to call it 95% or whatever. I do not think I'd have it in me to get all the iris treasures. Oh, I'd want to actually beat the jelly fair and square. Like, there's an exploit where if you actually die, which you have to do intentionally because the jelly doesn't attack you, it's considered a victory, but prefer to try to do it legitimate. Hey, corporate image, thanks for the raid. Your stream was a good one. Yeah, like I've seen El Magus do an Iris % run of the Ancient Cave, where it's more or less a just chatting type stream where it's redoing the first like 20 floors or so. 'Cause your odds of getting Iris treasures aren't really any different in harder parts of the cave. Alright, so for dual head Hydra, I'm going to be using a very defensive strategy here because that flame breath attack he just used is just a flat out one shot on Benjamin, even if he's at max health. That's also why I really need the life spell just so that I can keep Ruben alive to tank all the hits. I'll definitely be back to Chrono Trigger at some point. I don't know when though. I mean, I might do. If nothing else, I might do a run for the anniversary of the game later this year. Well, August, I think. Sounds like a great idea, Anna. I do hear you there, like as I keep saying, part of why I decided to get back into streaming and speedrunning with this game is that it's just a lot more chill and easy. Whereas with like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy IV, I have to do a fair bit of practice off stream in order to stay sharp and edit. Once dual head Hydra is below half health, by the way, he stops using that flame breath attack. For this game, probably sub 240, at least for this category. See though. Because the fastest time I'm aware of is a 226, but getting the fastest possible times at this game is kind of silly because of Pazuzu, which is a boss later in the run that where you have to find him before you can fight him, and there's about a 10-minute variation between the best and worst spawn points for Pazuzu. And I'd like to get at least one floor 6 run that doesn't have anything or go horribly wrong in other parts of the game, but I don't ever see myself grinding this super hard for a really fast time. I'd like to try out some other categories eventually too, like actual any percent, since that's a lot more competitive. Okay, buy more seeds. I keep forgetting to need to do that at this point. It's because your allies or their levels are basically scaled around where you're supposed to be at the end of your time with them, if that makes sense. Like, so my Benjamin, my main character, is supposed to be about level 23 at this point. And yeah, that's another thing too, that guests never level up. So they're made fairly strong to compensate for that. Because Kaylee levels up from level 3 to level, I think, 31 just by sleeping, because she gets poisoned and then spends a bunch of time in bed until kind of a bit shortly after this point. Oh, actually, no, I should be using white here. Yeah, every guest character you get twice. What is this fight again? It's defend takes 2. It's one of those fights I was mentioning a bit ago that's a little bit easier when you have the white spell on Benjamin, which you wouldn't in any percent. Yeah, same, just generic. Supposed to use it. Did a bit of practice before starting up, but I only practiced up through dual head Hydra, so it's going to be a little rougher at this point, past this point. Yeah, it's a little odd coincidence, I'd agree, Datalonis. Enough bombs for the rest of the game. Oh yeah, that's more than enough, actually. Holy isn't actually an element in this game, it's non-elemental. Yep. That's something they reused from like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, I believe. Able to use exit offensively in battle. Yeah, Cure does have an element. Like if you use Cure on an undead enemy, the text will say that so-and-so is weak against zombie attacks. Shrug. Double shrug. I don't mind this part as much as the later fetch quest segment, just because of all the comedic value with the bombing and the shrugging. Yep, you can jump over NPCs, which is something all 2D tile-based RPGs should have. Yeah, Final Fantasy Legend 3 on the Game Boy was made by some of the same developers as this game, and it definitely shows the shared aspects as being able to jump over NPCs. Oh yeah, if you could jump over well, you can jump over NPCs in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise if you have the push B to jump flag. What about FFL3 jumping? Yeah. That largely well, yeah, I mean in the glitched run of Legend 3, you make use of that in order to skip needing to learn a password at one point. 'Cause you jump over the NPC that's supposed to stop you. You don't have the password. There's a little more to it than that, because you do have to manipulate another NPC to be standing in a certain spot for the jump to work, but it does work. Yeah, Kaylee being kind of close to double Benjamin's level at this point is pretty significant. Teammates are all fixed levels in this game. They're roughly the level that you're intended to be at the end of the area. Yeah, like, and I believe the highest level Benjamin can get is 41 in this game, which is kind of a weird number, but it is what it is. And then your final character, Phoebe 2, is level 34. Hey, Chain Nerd, welcome. If you're playing this game casually, there's really never any need to grind, though, if you fight most of the counters and dungeons. You'll pretty much always be about the level you need. Grinding for max money in this game, yikes. Potentially, I would very much not recommend doing so, but that is theoretically possible. And we've got a enemy self-immolation there thanks to Kaylee having drain resistance from the glitch. Level 60 in the Narsh Mines. Well, I do know a guy that grinded to level 99 in Reactor number 1 in Final Fantasy VII last year. Yep. Forget how long it took him, but a long time, as you can probably expect. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of quote-unquote cheat that, like MSK said, by abusing the fact that if you die in Final Fantasy VI and have saved the game, your current playthrough, the game will kick you back to your last save that you keep all experience you got. You could abuse that to be an absurdly high level early in the game. 230 hours, okay. That is many hours. Now, FF8's kind of an interesting case, too, where leveling up makes enemies stronger, too, just because FF8 scales enemies based on your average party level. Hey, the Legend of Amber, welcome in. Well, doing that sounds, quote unquote, not that bad compared to doing a similar thing in other RPGs, just because there's infinite spawning shadows on Destiny Islands and Parts 1. Like, you might be able to use like a turbo controller or or a macro or something to just have Sora stand in place and swing endlessly to kill shadows and get experience. Hey, Human Mustard. Thanks, Nitsuke. Yeah, low-level Mario RPG is rough. Not only is actually like beating bosses at really low levels hard, but so is staying low level. Because once you get past like a certain point fairly early in the game, for every fight you win, you have to set up a shell game basically afterwards that gives you a 1 out of 3 chance to not get any experience. It's basically double or nothing. Nothing. And you also want it to be experience and not money, which is also random. So in other words, you need a 50-50 and then a 1 out of 3 to line up for every fight in the game past a certain point. And Rom Scout used to do low-level SMRPG long ago in a galaxy far away. How nice of the worm to crit itself. Hey, Brazilian guy, welcome in. Hey, Axton 10, welcome in. Why am I running Mystic Quest? Because I want to get back into streaming and speedrunning, and this game's a lot more kind of simple and chill of a speedrun, and means I don't have to do a lot of practice and stuff between runs. Seemed like a better choice than trying to get back into like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy IV. I'll probably submit the Final Fantasy Legend again. I've been submitting to BDQs lately, although it hasn't gotten in yet. It does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah, this is pretty RNG heavy, but there is, I mean, there is more to it than that. There's a reason why Elvegas can put in this game and get a sub to any percent at will, basically, no matter what Pazuzu or anything else in the game does. I mean, a lot of the run comes down to knowing how to handle the encounters and deal with the randomness in the game. Yeah, getting a sub 2 with a floor 2 is pretty hard, but he's done it. I'm pretty sure if that particular run had been a floor 6, then he would have killed any percent forever, at least until another big discovery. Yeah, I'm doing 4-job Fiesta. Not really sure when exactly, because I want to focus on this at least until I know what I'm doing. I signed up for a pure chaos 4-job Fiesta with 5th job. Punchy Monk is my starter job. Yes, I believe Woolsey worked on this one. You can manipulate the encounters via running away to reroll for monster formation, but that's about it. This game doesn't have total RNG manipulation. And as far as manipulating encounters like in Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, I mean, that's not a thing just because the encounters are all in fixed spots. There's no step route or anything, because what you see is what you get as far as the monsters. Probably should kill the skeleton first, though, because those can... There are a couple interesting name differences between the English and Japanese versions. Like the hot wings are just called Phoenix in Japanese, which is boring. The hot wings, please. Cursor getting away from... Hey, Snow One, yep. Everyone has a shrug emote. Let him fly. Well, for this, I mean, for this game, it's less of a question on if equipment is useful and more is it worth going out of your way to get. Because equipment upgrades in this game just kind of stack together and you get whatever the best gear that you have is. but there's a lot of stuff that's just not worth going out of your way for. Like in this case, all of the axe upgrades. Yeah, some of them definitely are. Like I made a slight detour in the ice pyramid to get noble armor, which gives Benjamin water resistance, which helps a lot on the ice golem fight and a few other places. I'll be making a minor detour once I get to the next town to buy the Cupid locket, which gives a couple status immunities like confusion and sleep, I want to say. The Aegis shield that you can get in Doom Castle gives petrify and paralysis resistance. But yeah, that's always been kind of a debate on if it's worth the detour or not, because it's not really that hard to die enough times in the rest of Doom Castle to lose that minute you save from skipping the shield. I'm surprised I'm going to be losing time here, actually. I don't think anything went that badly here. They have like a really, really fast good roll. For this game, I'd probably say Dual Head Hydra is my favorite boss fight. It's got the most interesting strategy behind it to get around the fact that it can one-shot you. Hey, Nitrodon. Lost a minute. I'm not sure why, but it's a very long segment. Aforementioned Goon. It's supposed to be Go On Kid, but Goon Kid is better because Goon Kids never say die. Yeah, that only works in battle. That the life spell also heals status conditions. Sub 3 hours, I guess is going to be less free for this run than I thought, but A lot of that is going to come down to Pazuzu. I did get the second worst Pazuzu floor in my 309 first run. Floor 6 is the best. I got floor 4 in my other PB, which is the second worst after floor 2. Yeah, the order is 6, 1, 5, 4, 2. Best to worst. Refreshingly short dungeon after the last two extremely long ones. Swaggin' Claw. Targeting here. You just force a habit because of using life offensively can rip non-existent step route. I don't actually know if you can get at 2 mob encounters for a lot of the fights here. Yeah, for every encounter I believe there's like 2, sometimes 3 possible groups, and sometimes all of those groups are 3 packs. There are some singles in Pazuzu's tower, but yeah, it's mostly larger groups from here on out. I think you need to have her on auto because Dullhand's not weak to wind. Axe does about the same damage as. Dullaham, I like that idea. Yeah, I would love to. The main reason I wouldn't mind seeing some kind of remake of this game would be for real animation for Hidoomerang, to see Dullahan throw its head at you like a boomerang. No, one strategy that's also kind of debated too is casting the heal spell offensively that can cause status conditions to enemies, and the one you'd want to have hit Dull Hand is paralysis. Alright, nice fight. One Doom Dance actually hit. I think the Japanese name for Hidoomerang is Boomerang Head. Again, boring compared to Hidoomerang. Time for the infamous Pazuzu's Tower. Biggest sources of randomness in the run, because I have to find Pazuzu before I can fight him, and there's 5 possible floors with 20% odds for each, and there's about a 10-minute difference between the best and worst floors. Hey, Vinny. Oh yeah, the RPG Maker remake. Does the RPG Maker remake have a Hidoomerang animation though? Because that any interest I would have would begin and end there. Wagon Claw. Got a crit and a death proc. Swag. In fact, I think I vaguely remember Dragon Dark streaming that game once, and I think he just absolutely totally lost it after hearing a spell animation that had the Kefka laugh as part of it. So we're still a ways off from actually knowing our fate. Where Pazuzu is now set, but we're not going to know until clearing out a few more floors. The blind does actually work in this game, although it doesn't make it possible to hit, even though it feels like that. Come on, one more hit. Hey, Araksuki. Well, it's honestly not going as well as I was hoping for a second run, but definitely still PB pace. I did have a somewhat major oopsie in the ice pyramid, though, which is reflected in the exit split. I was absent-mindedly mashing text after Ice Golem and then proceeded to jump down a pit without actually getting the key to the next area. Probably cost me at least a minute or so. If I get a better Pazuzu floor, getting a PB should be relatively free, but never know with this game. These guys are massive jerks too, just because they can petrify you, and you're always guaranteed 3 of them in every encounter on this floor. That might actually be the first death in this run. Oh, I died. Oh yeah, that's right. I did die on one of the exit battlefield fights. Bad about that. Yeah. I do wonder how this would have fared if the retry mechanic was not a thing. Yeah, like the fact that one of the easiest fights in the game to die to is the tutorial fight with the behemoth. Cracks me up immensely. Yeah, agreed, Dr. David. How the instant you kill most bosses in this game that aren't the major, like the Crystal Guardians, they get their sprite at least gets demoted to a regular encounter in the next, starting in the next dungeon. Rebel across that one. So I guess people that watched some or all of Questing for Glory on RPG Limit Break last week, does anybody have any particular highlights to recommend as far as mod watches? The one that's jumping to mind the most that I enjoyed was Lunar's Silver Star Story Complete. Been quite a while since I'd actually run at that game. Yep. I was asleep. I saw the first like 2 hours or so of that run before having to go to bed, and then I was not disappointed when watching the last hour the next day. I like how immediately afterwards he just admitted that it's his destiny to never have a totally clean run of that game for a marathon. Alright, we floor 6 and we are, alright. Feels like a little bit of a waste to get a floor 6 when I still don't really know what I'm doing that well. Take it. Hit the switch, right? Just want to make sure, because if you do not hit the switch, then Pazuzu runs away and you're very sad. Yeah, it's 20% for each floor. You can't be on floor 3 because that's where you talk to him the first time, and then he moves elsewhere. After that, it's just equivalent odds for every floor. I love that this is a thing, too, that as long as the turn order lines up properly, you can revive Benjamin, and then he still gets to go, even if he died earlier that turn. Psych shield. Yeah, Benjamin outspeeds Pazuzu, then it's definitely Psych Shield turn. I do like that that's a thing, because it means you don't really have to count that carefully as far as what turn you're on. Oh. Oops. Get to hear a rare sound effect at least. Alright, and we saved almost 15 minutes, thanks to the power of floor 6, although some of that's also just knowing what I'm doing a little bit better, along with skipping having to do some backtracking and stuff that I got lost Well, it's gonna take a lot to not actually PB at this point, but never say never. I wouldn't really say the Dark King can be a huge jerk. I mean, who the final boss of this game actually is a subject of debate, because a lot of people would argue that Zoo is the true final boss. Yeah, if you don't use the cure glitch on Dark King, it's pretty ridiculous. A big part of why doing like a true quote-unquote glitchless run of this game doesn't really interest me. Not to mention that true glitchless is impossible because of how the resistance glitch works. Well, you could do no cure at, Fireburg. It's the right door, but wrong town. Faster to go to Fireburg through the Aquaria door. I don't think you would have to do any extra grinding in order to beat Dark King without the cure glitch. It would just be very slow and very random. Resistance glitch is a thing where the game only loads modifiers related to your partner's equipment whenever you load a save file. So because of that, because the last save file I loaded before starting this run was an endgame save with BB2, her elemental resistances from her equipment carry over to all other characters if I never actually reload during the run. It's because of the cure glitch. Basically, unless you get pretty bad luck, the Dark King fight is pretty trivial compared to Zoo, the refight with Pazuzu right before that. Yep, we got a pretty undeserved floor 6 on the second run. Also, evening high spirits. Congrats as always on the glory being quested. Along with whatever smashing whatever the previous PB was at soft locks and other in-game tech issues. Zoo rhymes with duh. Well, I'll argue that the word zoo in Japanese pronunciation is a little more clear, but I do not. I know better than to try to argue with childhood learned pronunciations. Oh, I need the captain's kit. This little sequence here is why you can't skip Pazuzu even with the shop glitch, because you have to be given the captain's cap by K-League in order to actually be able to board the ship. Still escaped with all 3 switches, so sounds strange. The idea is supposed to be that when you flip a switch, that means Pazuzu cannot go through that floor. This one I definitely want to re-roll until I get the 2 Dullahan lights. I got floor 6, which is the best floor. Totally wasted while I'm still getting my feet wet with this game, but at least means getting a sub 3 is pretty free at this point. As of now, my rough goal for this category is around like around a 230x, sub 240. It should be fairly achievable without having to actually grind specifically for floor 6 runs. I think The Exorcist had a demon called Pazuzu in it. Pronounced that way. Mostly because I like the music for the volcano and I like the boss strat for dual head Hydra. And doing the modern 100% route that still does the volcano at least totally trivializes the Hydra fight. The modern route, you go back and do the volcano after you've completed this part of the run. I think it's kind of a fun throwback to when I first watched speedruns of this game mostly by Josh the Funk Doc long ago too. Yeah, I miss Josh's old, mostly NES action platformer streams, but he did also run this game too. He was also one of my main sources of inspiration for, at least for the style of commentary I go for in my own runs. Yeah, Phoebe 2 is the final party member. Oh yeah, Valkyrie profile as well. Yeah, if you want to call this a party. Valkyrie Profile 2 is a solid game. I don't really like it as much as the first, though. Banger dungeon theme alert, but... It's supposed to single thump. Another fun bit of throwback trivia too is that Josh the Funk Doc was the first person I ever saw do stream speedruns that had a timer on his layout. Alright, only Phoebe can actually use that. Nice. They managed to die to this guy, which is pretty hard. Yeah, Ryuji Sasai didn't do a lot of soundtracks. It's mainly this game, Final Fantasy Legend 3, and Treasure of Rudra. Exit also works on Skullrus Rex, but so I'm not actually sure why most runners use life. I don't know if it's to get the experience from the fight or something. Or if the turn order lines up better or something to Phoebe do it. And, well, I guess actually if you do if you do life, then that means you've got a much better chance of going first, because Phoebe's way faster than Benjamin. Yes, RPG Limit Break will be happening May of 2022. Just announced today that there's going to be a charity, another charity Questing for Glory online marathon sometime later this year, probably October or November. Remember how to navigate this floor. Yeah, it'd be good to sit on the Christmas couch again. Best $50 that we ever spent at a consignment store in Salt Lake City. Yep, it's the same. I hope Spike brings that shirt to any and all future Limit Breaks. Yeah. Like I said, best $50 we ever spent. I've not heard a single negative review of that couch. Yeah, I saw Mutsky tweeting about FF9 getting rerouted again. Jerkbird was floor 6. Kind of a waste at this point, but I'll take a free PB. life doesn't work on Stone Golem. Oh, my pleasure, Laid to Kickback. I think that gold split is primarily just from getting a little less lost in this place. It is a fun game. I mean, it's not a super like deep or compelling game, either from a story or gameplay perspective. But I mean, for what it is, it's just kind of a fun little romp. Great music. If anybody does want to play a old school RPG like this one that has some more depth to it, I would definitely recommend Final Fantasy Legend 3, which was made by mostly the same people. I like to consider it kind of a grown-up version of Mystic Quest. It has a lot of commonalities in the art style and the combat system, but because you have 4, sometimes 5 characters instead of 2, there's a lot more depth. Final Fantasy Legend 3 for the Game Boy. Talking about. Saw the game is Legend 1. Oh, nice. Kyram 08. Appreciate it. The 2 is absolutely bananas, and also killer robots. Not. Still confused, huh? Yeah, that was one of my favorite antics from a live Limit Break run too, with some IRL banana smuggling going on in the audience during Jair's run of Legend 2. Yeah, she's not confused anymore. I think it was Shentok and Turbo Dog 702 that were masterminding the banana smuggling. Yeah, there was a better banana-themed charity marathon incident that happened about 6 years before that one. Gold split despite a death. Boy, do I love second runs of RPGs. People don't know what we're talking about, by the way. There's a subplot in Final Fantasy Legend 2 based on the Chinese Opium Wars. In the English version, all references to opium were replaced with the word bananas. Just as amazing as it sounds. Thank you, Phoebe, I think. Opium is cocaine. I'm not actually familiar enough with what the difference between opium and cocaine is, and I'm okay keeping it that way, but it's illegal drugs. Oh, heroin, okay. The toppings contain potassium benzoate. It's bad. Okay, that makes more sense then if one's South American and one's Asian in origin, given that there was a war over opium in China. Ancient China, I should say. Moral of the story, though, don't do drugs, but yes, do bananas, unless you're allergic or something. Speaking of bananas, though, one of my favorite prank-type things I've ever seen, too, is actually creatively using dental floss in order to slice a banana without peeling it. And they remembered to take Phoebe off. Yes. Bananas are an amazing quick fruit snack. I believe I always want to use white whenever there's chimeras in these fights because they're resistant to fire flares. Yeah, please keep it family friendly, by the way, too. A random chicken. A breakdown. Oh. A banana is cleverly sandwiched between a peel on all sides, I would agree. A Jim Star Killer. A chicken-themed game. Was it Mort the Chicken? That is the main Kuso Grande appropriate chicken-themed game that I know of. Chicken Run. About the servers. Sound like sage advice. This guy can be a big jerk, or he can be really considerate, depending on how much he spams Doom Dance. That's a great start. I don't think this game has ever been in GDQ yet. It's been in Limit Break numerous times. Reference the earlier conversation about how it's debatable who the final boss of this game is, at least in a speedrun. When you're using the Cure glitch on the Dark King, Zoo is way more dangerous than the Dark King. Not if he does that though, but that attack is actually bugged. Using the Psych Shield on you to do 1 damage. Not do that in the Japanese and PAL versions. Pazuzu is on floor 6. Absolute waste, but I will take a BPB. I believe we are technically on floor 6 of Doom Castle, though. When we're talking about floors, it's because Pazuzu, the last major story boss before the end game, is random as far as which floor of his tower he's on and which floor it is. It makes a really big difference in a speedrun. The difference between floor floor 6, which is the best, and floor 2, which is the worst, is about 10 minutes, just because you have to do a lot more encounters and a lot more walking around. I'm losing a lot of time here. Well, I did die once on Zoo. Surprise. Yeah, I did also kind of bungle some of the encounters on this floor, though. Kind of makes sense. I like this poor Cerberus here that can just be sidestepped twice. So because I got floor 6, ironically the Dark King fight's going to be a little slower because the setup for the Cure glitch varies a bit depending on Benjamin's level, and level 24 lets you do a significantly faster Dark King fight than level 23 or lower. Let's see. I don't fully understand how this glitch works, but I know it's just based on Dark King having either like very high or very low resistances to the cure element that translates into being able to like underflow the damage formula or something. That should be it. Alright, GG. Not only the sub 3, but the sub 250, thanks to the power of floor 6. Excuse me. Oh, thanks for the GGs there, buddy. Again, just for perspective, the fastest time that I'm aware of for completing this game without using the shop glitch is 2:26 by FF Gamer 86, which was the any percent record before the shop glitch was discovered. Yep, exactly. That's part of why I was a little sad to see a floor 6 run on my second attempt. That it's going to make getting free PBs not a thing anymore, even if I actually get better at the run. I mean, it's not impossible, that's for sure, but a lot harder. I mean, there's still enough dungeons that I made significant mistakes in that can easily make up for not getting floor 6, although getting floor 2 will be enough to torpedo any PB aspirations, but as of now, I think at least my goal time is going to be a sub 240 for this category. Getting red splits because of not getting floor 6, I don't think is going to feel that bad. I mean, I get enjoyment out of just using knowledge I have of a game to deal with what it gives me, and the fact that there's optimized routes for all 5 Pazuzu floors, and kind of being familiar enough with them to be able to just pick up whichever route you need is something I'll enjoy once I get to that point with the game. There's our boy, Ted Woolsey. It's probably one of his earlier works. Though I guess I am a little curious, given that this game was made for Westerners and released in US and Canada before Japan, if this game was actually translated from Japanese, or if like Ted Woolsey actually wrote the script and then it later got translated into Japanese. Yeah. Splits and Mystic Quest are quite silly. You've done enough runs, that's for sure. Thanks, Crimson J. Yeah, I guess let's do 2. Yeah, the start was decent, although managed to lose time in the ice pyramid. I'm sure it's just from not having good encounter handling yet, because I know a good ice golem time is like a 36. Like that's what Elmagus usually gets if he doesn't die to the behemoth a lot or something. Got a lot of time to save there. The exit split, I had pretty atrocious exit battlefield encounters, and I also managed to jump off of Ice Golem's floor without the coin because I was mashing B and realized where I was standing. So that's a free like probably like 90 seconds or so there, assuming I don't do that again. I missed my Jin skip split, but I think the mine went decently well. I definitely earned those golds in the volcano just from knowing what I'm doing with the map navigation and the encounters a bit better. Really too sure what went wrong with the tree, why I lost almost a minute there, but counter handling I'm sure is a big part of it, and the Hydra fight wasn't the greatest. And then we got our like almost 14-minute gold split on Pazuzu because of getting floor 6 and the previous run being floor 4, which is the second worst after floor 2. I skipped the Aegis shield in this run, so I saved like a minute or so on the Skull Resurrect split. I've been told by numerous people that the odds of dying enough times to lose the minute you save from skipping Aegis shield are well, the odds are in your favor of coming out ahead, so I'm probably just gonna roll with that going forward. And had kind of a stinky zoo floor, just not staying on top of my spell charges that well, and having one retry on zoo. I lost a little on Dark King because of being level 23, but that happens with floor 6 because you don't fight enough stuff to get level 24.